Okay, Assalamualaikum. I think we can start now. There are 34 of you.
Waalaikumsalam.
Okay, there are 34 of you. I think in the group there are 37, so never mind. I will share the. Okay, can you see the slide?
Can.
All right. All right. So hopefully you already downloaded the slide, which I have uploaded in eFuture. You can use it as a reference when I give my lecture for tonight. All right. So starting from today, we are going to start with the lecture on the budgeting lah. All right. So today we are going to have an introduction to budgeting. So what we are going to go through tonight is that we are going to have a look on how we can define budgeting, okay, in a more formal way, all right, and then we are going to see what are the advantages that we could take when we implement budgeting in our organization or projects, and then what are the process involved in preparing the budget, and what kind of characteristic that we need to consider in order to prepare what we call it as a good budget. Okay, of course, it's not going to be perfect, but at least we can minimize the impacts of if anything happen in the future. And after that, we are going to see two types of budgeting approaches, which consist of top down, and also bottom up. So we are going to go through what is top down and what is bottom up, how it works, what are the advantages and disadvantages of both approaches. And then we are going to have a look on the budgeting techniques, which consists of 4: incremental, zero-based, performance-based, and also outcome-based. Okay, we are going to see the difference on each technique. And finally, for tonight's lecture, we are going to have a look on the difficulties and challenges in preparing a budget. So that's what we are going to go through tonight. So don't worry, we are not going to take 3 hours for the class because you know it's online, is quite tiring lah if you focus on the computer or laptop. Even some of you maybe use phones while listening to my lecture for 3 hours. It's quite tiring lah. All right. So for introduction, we are going to go have a look on what is budget. Okay. So basically, budget is a control technique whereby actual results are compared with budget. Okay. So we are going to prepare budget first, then we can see the impact of that budget with the actual results. So formally, budget can be defined as stated by Institute of Cost and Management Accountants, in which is stated that the establishment of budgets relating the responsibilities of executive to the requirements of a policy and the continuous comparison of actual with budgeted results, either to secure by individual action the objective of that policy or to provide a basis for its revision. So basically, budgeting is a fundamental part of financial planning. Okay, so if you want to plan your financial, of course, you need to have budget first. Okay, so basically also budgeting is about planning. a plan on how to obtain and use the resources within the specific time. Okay, so normally we can prepare budget for 3 months, on quarterly basis, or maybe on yearly basis, depends. Depends on what type of business you involve, what type of organization you involve. Okay, but normally as a country, as a government, normally we are going to plan the budget for 1 year lah. Okay, so when we have a proper plan, we could control the budget that has been planned. So at the same time, the budget itself can help us to coordinate the activities involved within our organization lah. So kalau tak ada, if we don't.
Doktor, sorry, seorang kawan saya tak boleh masuk.
Oh ya, yeah. Okay. Saya tak dengar tu. Sekejap.
Thank you.
Tak ada pun.
Akilah.
Tak ada request pun. Biasa dia akan keluar kat screen saya.
Dia request tapi tak dapat.
Tak dapat?
Dia dah ada.
Link dah ada?
Dia tunjuk kat sini gambar asking to join tapi tak approve.
Oh, suruh dia request sekali?
Okay.
Tak keluar. Okay,
saya try share sekali lagi link.
Alright.
Okay.
Friends. Dah share dah?
Itulah dia dah try link baru tapi tak dapat juga.
Tak dapat juga? Dia pakai email apa?
Email, alamak saya tak tahulah pula.
Dia pakai phone ke pakai laptop?
Sekejap.
Ada dia, okay. Nur Syakilah kan? Okay, dah. Okay. Okay, I repeat again. Okay, as I mentioned just now, budgeting is about planning lah. Okay, it's a fundamental part of financial planning lah. Okay, so if we don't have proper planning to develop our budget, so it will affect our financial stability of our organization as well. So basically, when you preparing a budget, you need to answer these 3 common questions. Okay, which are the first one is how much money to spend, what to spend it on, and how to raise the money they have decided to spend. Okay, this is the common question that you have to answer when preparing budget lah. Okay, so of course the first question is the most obvious lah. How much money to spend lah. You need to know how much money do you have before you can allocate the money on, for example, on which department and etc. So basically, budgeting is developed at the lowest operating cost with the objective to gain more, what we call it as a return and also profit. And of course, when you spend on something, of course, you want something in return. Okay, so that's also will come into pictures lah when you're preparing a budget. Right, here's some of the advantages of budgeting. Okay, one of them is you're going to forces management to express in hard figures its future intention. Okay, so you allow what we call it as the element of transparency lah. Transparency, when you prepare budget, you can see the figures, where the money has been allocated and so on. So you can promote coordination and communications. Okay, your organization or your project will be more coordinate when you have prepare budget. Okay, when preparing budget, it also will help you to define the areas of responsibility. Okay, you'll be more responsible. Okay, because you have some sort, for example, like amount of money that will be accountable for. So you are going to be responsible to use the money accordingly. All right, and you also will provide a basis for performance appraisals. Okay, sometimes some organization will use budgeting as their KPIs lah. Right. So for example, like company A will provide maybe for example like 100,000. Okay, you need to use it wisely. Don't overuse or maybe don't underspend and so on. Okay, so this also can be set as one of the KPIs lah. Okay. It also will help to enable remedial action to be taken as variances emerge. Okay, if any changes occur in the future, so when you have a proper budget, if you have a proper documentation of the budget, it will help you to make immediate actions. Okay, maybe you need to modify something and so on. Okay, if you have a proper documentation of budget, and it also will help to motivate employees by participating in the setting of budgets. Okay, so sense of responsibility, sense of accountability to more or less will influence the workers or the employees to be more motivated lah. Okay, and finally it will help the allocation of scarce resources lah. So by preparing a budget, you can identify which area are very critical that need to be taken care of. All right, so from there you can maybe put more money on that area and so on. All right. So that's generally budgeting lah. Okay. It's a common terms lah. Okay. Next, we are going to have a look on the process of budget. So in preparing a budget, you need to go through certain processes, okay, certain step or process before you can complete your budget. Okay, so basically there are five steps that you need to consider when preparing a company's budget. So the steps are, first one is gathering information. Okay, so this is the critical part lah. So you need to make sure that all the necessary information will be gathered. Okay, don't miss any elements or any tasks that you need to consider when preparing budget. Okay, so you need to carefully double check the info. Okay, which area that you need to spend on, etc. Okay, so information is the key, the essential part of preparing a budget lah. So you need to make sure that you collect all the necessary info or data. So perhaps when you want to gather the information, you can use from the past record, for example. So if you have, as long as you have a proper record lah and documentation. So if you have a proper record and documentation, it's easy for you to gather the information. Second step is that you need to understand each line. Okay, so means that sometimes it's quite challenging, especially if you are in a big organization. So sometimes when you involve on, or when you are working with in the big organization, you have many departments, many levels, many lines. Okay, so you need to understand each line or each department involved in your organizations. Okay, their function, their responsibility, and so on. So when you understand each line, you can see the relevance on allocate the amount of money on each department. Okay, so as preparing a good budget is quite a tricky process lah. Okay, so this step you need to carefully carefully take a look lah. Okay, so that you can understand the responsibility of each line or each department. So you can maybe you can revisit the previous budget that has been allocated on that particular department. So you can see whether you need to add or subtract the previous budget. Okay, so you need to clarify on that element as well lah. Alright, the next step is quite challenging lah. predicting the future. Okay, it's good if you have a crystal ball lah. Okay, so you can predict what will happen in future, but it's quite difficult lah. Okay, so macam like currently nobody will expect we are going to have maybe last year we didn't expect to have online class like this. Okay, for example, right? So, but however, you need to predict the future. Okay, what will happen in the future in terms of economic wise, okay, in terms of predicting the market, okay, in terms of predicting a great opportunity for investment, for example, something like that. Okay, so you need to make a certain or make a discussion with your stakeholders. Perhaps you can obtain feedback from your customers, okay, so that you can use that to predict what will happen in future, okay, in terms of market and etc. Right, and then the next step is reviewing the results. Okay, so in preparing a budget, it's good if you have a checklist. Okay, so you have checklist. Okay, you can review each item in your checklist. Okay, maybe you can ask second opinion before you make a final decisions. Okay, and also it is advisable for you to pay more attention to the items with higher figures. Okay, number maybe some items has been allocated millions of ringgit, for example. So you need to focus on that, review it. Why? Is there any opportunity for you to revise and etc. Okay, and the last steps of the last step that involved in preparing a budget is that is the finishing the budget lah. Okay, so after all the processes above has been carried out, then you can finalize your budget, maybe by starting at recalculating the amount. Okay, so double check the amount from large amount to the small amount. Okay, so even if it's quite difficult to satisfy everybody, so at least you must try your level best to make sure that everybody involved satisfied with the prepared budget lah. Okay, so even if difficult, it's quite difficult lah to satisfy everybody. Okay, not only preparing budget on other things as well. Okay, so and before you finalizing your budget, it is also advisable for you to allow flexibility, okay, in your budget. Okay, flexibility is very important characteristic of budget. Later we are going to discuss more on flexibility itulah. Okay, so you need to allow some sort of flexibility, because if anything happen in future, you are able to make changes lah. Okay, so that's the important aspect of flexibility in budget. So that's the 5 steps of the 5 steps that you need to consider when preparing a budget lah. Okay, next we are going to have a look on the characteristic of a good budget. Alright, there are a few main characteristics that we need to consider in order to produce or to prepare what we can call it as a good budget. One of them is participation. Okay, so you in preparing budget, you need to get involved as many people as possible in drawing up a budget. Okay, it's quite important lah. So when you get involved many people when preparing a budget, you will get a better view. Okay, you will get a better idea. You will get second opinion and etc. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the first thing. And then the second one is comprehensiveness. Right. So you need, in order to prepare a good budget, you need to establish the goal. Okay, the purpose of the budget. Okay, what purpose of budget that you want. Okay, so you need to forecasting the future in terms of, especially not forecasting about the market demand, about the prices, for example. You also need to forecasting the potential risk that you're going to face in the future. All right, and you also must be rational lah when you allocate the budget in your organization or business. And the next one is standards. Okay, so the budget that will be prepared must be based on established standards of performance that been agreed by everyone lah. Okay, so maybe you set some sort like what we call it as a KPIs that have been agreed by everyone. So from there you can extend your budget. The next characteristic is motivation. Okay, as I said just now, budget also can be used as your performance appraisals. So it can provide motivation for the workers to achieve their goals. Okay, so that's also one of the characteristics of a good budget. All right, the next one is transparent. Okay, so you must be transparent by clearly inform the exact amount of budget that has been allocated. Okay, so maybe some organization will not reveal the amount, but at least if you can reveal, it's good enough for the organization so that everybody know where the money has been put on. Okay. And next, feedback. You need to allow feedbacks, okay, so that you can constantly monitor the performance of the budget. Okay, so when you get the feedback, maybe you can improvise, or maybe you can improve for the next following years of budget preparations. All right, and the last one is, again, as I mentioned just now, flexibility. Okay, so flexibility is also one of the important characteristics of a good budget. Okay, because if your budget is too rigid, if any changes happen in future, you cannot grab the opportunity because your budget is already tight, it's already rigid. You didn't allow changes, so it's quite wasteful for your organization or business lah. Okay, so you need to allow flexibility, so any opportunities arise in the future, you can grab it lah. Okay, so that's the idea of the characteristic of a good budget lah. There are 7 of them. Alright, so that's generally the introduction of budgeting lah. Okay, so far any questions? So if you have questions, perhaps you can write down in the chat session, so you can go through for a while. If not, we can continue. Okay, if not, we can continue. Alright, if you have a question, if you don't want to interrupt my presentation, my lecture, you can maybe you can write down your question at the chat session. So after I finish, go through the slide, maybe I can answer your question after this. Okay. Alright, next. We are going to go through on the budgeting approach. Okay. So, as you all know, budget is a quantitative plan of action because it involves numeric numbers. Okay, so that's why we that's why we call it as a quantitative plan of actions. Okay, it involves numeric numbers. Okay, it is not only involve forecasting, it's also involve the consideration to all the variables. Okay, for example, like market demand, economic condition, etc., that will determine the firm's performance. Okay, so besides forecasting the future, we also need to consider a lot of variables. Okay, it's not easy, okay, to prepare budget. Okay, so in preparing budget, a lot of variables that you need to consider. As I mentioned just now, it's about market demand, okay, economic condition, okay. What will happen to our economy next year? Okay, is it still slow? Is it going to be recession? Okay, is it the economy going to boom? For example, all right. So that's the thing that we need to predict. Okay. All right, and the overall objective of budgeting should be the optimization of profit over the long term lah. So that's the overall objective of preparing a budget lah. So you need, of course, when you're talking about budget, you're going to spend the money, and in return, of course, you hope that you can gain profit from it. Okay, especially in the long run, in the long term. So therefore, in preparing the budget, there are 2 approaches that could be considered. Okay, which the first one is top down and the second one is bottom up. Okay, we are going to go through one by one. Firstly, we are going to go through on top down. So basically, what is top down budgeting? Okay, the name itself is already obvious, from top to down. Okay, so the process, this approach will start from top, means that from the top management, bring downwardly to the down level of management. So it involves the senior management team developing a high level of budget for the entire organization. Okay, so basically when you apply top-down approach in your business or in your organization, basically the decision on the budget will be decided by the top level punya management team. Okay. So basically, the firm's senior management team will prepare the budget based on the stated objective and then pass it to the assigned managers for the implementation. Okay, so they're going to discuss among them, top level management, and then after they have the final decision, then they will distribute to the assigned managers to implement the budget that has been allocated. Okay, but sometimes they will ask suggestion from the lower level of management. Okay, so maybe certain department, the managers of certain department, they will ask the opinions, the suggestion. But the final decision will be on the hand of the senior management team lah. Okay, they can ask opinions, but the final decision will be up to them lah. Okay, whether they want to follow your suggestion or opinion or not. Alright, so the senior management team will make specific allocation to the different departments, and those departments must then take those numbers and build their own corresponding budget within the confines of the executive level creative budget. Okay, so let's say Department A has been allocated 1 million. Okay, so from that 1 million, the Department A will manage that 1 million within their department. Okay, that's how top-down works lah. So what are the advantages of top-down? So when you apply top-down approach in your organization, so it's only involve the executive team, and thus lower management does not have to take time to prepare the budget. So the lower level management don't have tak payah pening kepala lah untuk prepare budget. They will just receive the budget, the amount of money that has been allocated to them and spend it. Okay, and this can represent significant time savings for those who are more involved in the day-to-day rather than the overall strategy for the organizations lah. Okay, so more or less when you implement top-down approach in your organization, in more like you can say is time saving lah. Okay, you will take less time to prepare the budget. While the disadvantages of top-down budgeting is that, or approaches is that, okay, it will create the budget that is created may not be involved with the day-to-day, and as a result may not be aware of some of the specific expenses required. Okay, this is one of the disadvantages or weaknesses of top-down. So because the decision will be on the top level only, so maybe the top level or the top management team will not aware the business that has been carried out day-to-day basis lah. Okay, so they not being exposed to that kind of environment. So perhaps sometimes the budget that has been allocated sometimes maybe don't fit or it's not sufficient enough. Okay, it's not enough for that particular department to use. Okay, so that's the main weakness or disadvantages of top-down approach. Alright, while bottom-up is contradict from top-down. Okay, top-down from top to down. So bottom-up in the reverse direction, from bottom up to the top level of management team. Alright, so the process starts in the individual departments where managers create a budget and then send it upwards for approval. Okay, so just now top-down, top management will make the decision. After they decided, they will give the budget to each department. So now that particular department will decide, will prepare their own budget and send upwards to the top management for approval. Okay, that's how it works, bottom up. But that budget is either approved, revised, and sent back for modifications. Okay, so it's quite, I can say, quite impossible lah. Once your own department, for example, have completed your budget and send to the top management, then the top management will directly approve. Okay, it's a rare cases lah. Okay, sometimes of course they will cut some amount of budget that has been asked by your management or by your departments. So again, each department have to work upwards by considering every aspect, including the precise salaries, bonus forecast for each individual, staff projection, etc. Okay. So basically, usually the outcome of this approach are increased ownership of the budget. So as one particular department, you will more aware about what happened within your department. You will be exposed. You will more what I can say is that you know which area that you want. Okay, well, how much money that you want to use for your own department. Okay, you will be tahu. Okay, so compared to from top management decide for you. Okay. Because you are more familiar, okay, that's the word, more familiar with each department, okay, you're familiar with your own department, so when you create your department, you will be more responsible for it lah, because you are directly involved in the process. Okay, that's the advantages. The disadvantages of bottom up is that, so basically, bottom-up approach will result in higher spending targets compared to the top-down approach. Okay, thus a reconciliation process will be required in order to produce an organization-wide budget in which all the parts add up correctly. Okay, reconciliation means that adjustment process. Okay, maybe some in the future you need to adjust. Because what has been requested by your department sometimes did not align with the organization-wide budget. Okay, so maybe you ask more. Okay, from what organization or top management can give you. Okay, and also sometimes bottom-up budgeting can result in budget which are not in line with corporate objective if manager focus too much on department rather than organization concept. Okay, similar. All right, so sometimes we are focused more on our own department without considering the KPI set by the organization or the objective set by the organization. So and another disadvantages of bottom up also, it can be time consuming as well. Okay, because you need to go through maybe a few rounds of process before you can get the approval. Okay, you send to the top management, it's been rejected as they ask you to revise few times. Okay, sometimes it can time consuming, involve time consuming stuff. Okay, this diagram summarize between top down and also bottom up approach. Okay, so it's simplified the top down and also bottom up lah. Okay, so from top to down and bottom to up lah. Okay, so it's quite, I believe it's quite easy to differentiate between these two approaches. All right, next we are going to go through on budgeting techniques. Okay, there are 4 common types of budgeting technique that firms or business or organization could use. Okay, it's either we can use incremental, zero-based, performance-based, or outcome-based. Okay, we are going to go through one by one lah. Okay, normally performance and outcome-based is quite similar. Okay, nothing much different. Okay, nanti I'm going to show you after this. Okay, for the first technique is incremental budgeting. What is incremental budgeting? Okay, incremental budgeting is a budget prepared by using the last year actual figures and add or subtract a percentage to obtain the current year's budget. Okay, we are going to use the last year's budget as a guideline. Okay, so we are going to have a look on each line of the or each item that has been prepared for the last year budget. We have a look again on which item that we need to add. Okay, or maybe some of the items need to be subtract. Okay, so we are going to go through back based on last year's budget. So it is the most common method of budgeting because it is simple and easy to understand. Because we already have the platform. Okay, we already have the guideline. Okay, so we can use that to prepare the new budget for the coming years. Okay, and it's quite widely used because as stated here, it's easier and it's simple and easy to understand because we already have the element. Maybe you need to double check, perhaps add new item, subtract the old items. Okay. Incremental budgeting is appropriate to use if the primary cost driver do not change from year to year. Okay. What is primary cost driver is the key elements of your business. For example, like labor working hours. Okay, so it's not being changed for the next year. Okay, your workers still works 8 hours per day, for example. Okay, numbers of machine used, for example, you're still using the same amount of machines. Okay, there is no changes in terms of numbers of machine used, for example. Okay, so numbers of workers used in your organization. Okay, so there is no additional workers. Okay, so if you don't make that changes, perhaps incremental budgeting is suitable to be used for your business or firms. However, there are some problems with incremental budgeting. Okay, so firstly, it is likely to perpetuate inefficiencies. Okay, for example, like if a manager knows that there is an opportunity to grow his budget by 10% every year, he will simply take that opportunity to attain a bigger budget while not putting effort into seeking ways to cut costs or economize. Okay, so sometimes the manager is very lazy to have a look on the budget that has been allocated to their departments. Okay, so it's already a common practice in their organization that every year the budget will be increased 10%. So in this case, there is no effort to look for ways to reduce the cost lah. Okay, perhaps even if the managers include or add another 10% for the next year budgets, perhaps it's already more, okay, from the current budget. So it will create inefficiencies in your budgets lah. And it also will result in budgetary slack. Okay, a manager might overstate the size of the budget that the team actually needs, so it appears that the team is always under budget. Okay, so it also can happen. Okay, so perhaps the manager afraid to take responsibility, afraid to ask more. Okay, even though he realized that his department always didn't get enough or sufficient budget, so that could happen when you use incremental budgeting in your firm or business. And finally, it is also likely to ignore external drivers of activity and performance. Okay, for example, like there is very high inflation in certain input costs. Okay, incremental budgeting ignores any external factors and simply assume the cost will grow by, for example, 10% this year. Okay, so if it's already a common practice in organization that we assume that every year there will be 10% increase in, for example, in inflation in the price of the materials, for example, but in reality maybe it's more, okay, maybe less. Okay, so they did not put effort to actually investigate or forecast the external drivers of the economy lah, for example. All right. Next is the advantages of incremental budgeting. So it's easy to implement and calculate, as being mentioned just now. Okay, because you are using the previous year's budget as your platform, so you have everything. So you just maybe have a look some of the areas only. Okay, so you familiarity among the departments. Okay, again, because you already aware what happened, familiar with what happened within your organization. Ensure there will be no large deviations. Okay, tak ada banyak perubahan. the impact of any changes can be identified immediately. Okay, so suitable for the firms where the fundings are usually fixed or limited resources lah. Okay, so if you every year you have a fixed budget, fixed resources funding, is suitable to use incremental budgeting. While the disadvantages of incremental budgeting is that there will be limited opportunity to raise the issues of inconsistency, again lead to budgeting slack, fairness distribution, as there is no possibilities of cost reduction for managers. Okay, because every time it's already common that we increase 10% every year. Okay, so business run into conservation mode. Okay, innovation elements will be ignored. Okay, so because we are moving, for example, currently we're talking about IR 4.0, there will be a lot of new technologies, innovations come in, but we are not being, we are reluctant to adopt innovation because our budget is very tight, it's already fixed. So that's why, especially contractors, okay, they find it difficult when we talk about innovation in the construction industry. All right, next technique is zero-based budgeting. Okay, so this technique starts with the assumption that all departments' budget are zero and must be rebuilt from scratch. So means that we start from zero. We don't have anything. We start from zero. Start from A. So all expenses must justify and approved for each new period. Okay, maybe on quarterly basis or on yearly basis. Okay, zero-based budgeting is very tight, aiming to avoid any expenditures that are not considered as absolutely essential to the company's successful operation. Okay, so when you implement zero-based, it's very particular in terms of what type of expenditure that you want to spend, what on which area you want to spend that money. Okay, you must have justifications, clarifications. Alright, the zero-based approach is good to use when there is an urgent need for cost containment. Okay, what is cost containment? Cost containment is perhaps there is a sudden collapse in economy, for example, like current scenario. Okay, suddenly we face a pandemic situation with COVID-19. A lot of business collapse and so on, struggling in terms of economic. Okay, maybe market downturn, suddenly demand collapse. There is no demand for our products, for example. So you can use this zero-based approach lah to modify your budget. Okay, and zero-based budgeting is best suited for addressing discretionary costs rather than essential operating costs. All right. Discretionary cost is cost or capital expenditure that can be eliminated in the short term without having an impact. Okay, so it's more on short term basis lah, basically when we're talking about zero-based budgeting. Alright, the advantages is that you will increase the staff involvement at all levels because you start from scratch. Okay, a lot of staff or workers will involve when preparing budget using this technique. Okay, knowledge and understanding of the cost behavior pattern of negotiation will be enhanced. Okay, resources will be allocated efficiently and also economically. Right? So you will be more concerned about where you want to put the money on, because maybe in some area you have scarce resources. Okay, and the disadvantages is time consuming because you start from scratch. Okay, it will take time. Okay, when it takes time, it will affect the motivation. Okay, maybe the manager might be demotivated because it takes too long to complete the budget, and the budgeting process may become too rigid, and the organization may not be able to react to unforeseen opportunities or threat. Okay, so that's among the disadvantages of zero-based budgeting. Alright, next is performance-based. Okay, as I said just now at the beginning of this part of budgeting technique, I said that performance and also outcome-based is quite similar. And in fact, performance-based budgeting has been used by our government previously until I think 2010 or 2011. We are using this performance-based budgeting. Okay. Alright, performance-based budget is a budget that reflects the input of resources. Sorry. And the the output of services for each unit of an organization. Okay, here when we talk about input and output, we refers to the concept of productivity. Okay, so we are going to have a look which departments or which area that will which area or which department or which area that have a high level of productivity. Okay, if that particular department or that particular area have a high level of productivity, we are going to allocate more, because a high level of productivity will influence the level of profitability. Okay, the higher the productivity, the higher the profit that you can get. Okay, so that's the idea of productivity. Okay, and then so when our government use this performance-based budgeting, okay, they will utilize the resources at optimum level, okay, without properly consider that in future the resources will be depleted, okay, will be reduced and so on. Okay. So the advantages of performance-based is that it will improve accountability, a better public disclosure, a better management practices with comprehensive objective and achievement. Okay, so when you allocate budget, of course, you at the end of the day, you can see the potential profit or outcome that you can get. And the disadvantages is that a potential for this disagreement of where spending properties should lay. All right, rationalizing the irrational. Okay, a potential for the department to manipulate data in order to reach a target, and lack of flexibility. Okay, this is why our government stopped using this performance-based budgeting starting from 2010 or 11, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, because it's not being used properly. Okay, a lot of loopholes that ministry could take advantage, okay, when they use performance-based budgeting. Okay, it's not being, I can say it's not being transparent enough when they use performance-based budgeting lah. So that's why in 2011 our government, I think, start until now we are using this outcome-based budgeting, OBB. Okay, actually OBB ni or outcome-based budgeting is the evolution of performance-based budgeting. Okay, it's similar, but the difference that the money that have been allocated will be more carefully allocate. Okay, they not simply just pump money just like that. Okay, because when we use performance-based, we have a lot of money. But nowadays, as you know, a lot of outcome-based budgeting is more encourage us or encourage the ministries to generate their own incomes, okay, to adopt innovations and so on, that kind of activities. Okay, so they give more priorities towards certain areas lah yang critical. Okay, this is the example flow of the outcome-based budgeting. Okay, for example, like first they will consider the process. Okay, for example, like commitment to free personal nursing care. So inputs, the requirement is the doctors, nurses, and also equipment. And output there, when we have enough doctors, enough equipment, enough nurses, we will have a proper treatment. We can give a proper treatments to the rakyat, and the outcome is longer, healthier lives lah. Okay, so that's what we call it as outcome-based budgeting lah. Okay, they will focus more on the critical area lah. In economy, especially as a government, and I can say two areas are very important lah. Okay, health and also education. Okay, that's two elements are very important for the government to consider when preparing a budget, because that two important two area, health and also budgeting, will give a big impact towards our economy lah. Okay, the advantages of outcome based will create more transparencies and also participation, enhance accountability, highlight the inefficiencies of the spending so we can identify which area are not being used efficiently. We will improve the stakeholder services. And the disadvantages is additional costs, okay, lack of data, difficult to benchmark, and difficult to monitor lah. Okay, for the last part, we are going to have a look on the difficulties and challenges on preparing an effective budget, okay, or preparing a good budget lah. It's not easy, okay, as I mentioned earlier. Even I think last week during the introduction class, I mentioned even personally when you want to prepare a budget for your own self, okay, or for your family, it's quite difficult. It's not easy, okay. Even we are talking about a country, we are talking about big organization and so on. Okay, it's not easy. Okay, so there are a few challenges, difficulties, challenges that you are going to face. Okay, among of them, firstly is inaccuracy. Okay, because when you prepare budget, you cannot run from making an assumptions. Okay, you are making assumptions because one of the element that you need to consider when preparing budget is forecasting. You need to forecast. When you are talking about forecast, you're going to predict the future. Okay, and of course, what you are going to predict, of course, is not being accurate 100%. Right? So it could happen inaccuracy. Okay, maybe you predict this going to be happen in future, but it's not being happen. Okay, so it could have, that's one of the difficulties and challenges. That's why, again, I mentioned about flexibility just now. Okay, you need to allow flexibility. If what you expect to happen in the future is not being happen, so if you have the element of flexibility, you can realign your budget. Right, rigid decision making. Okay, the budgeting process sometimes give more attention on the management team. Okay, sometimes they did not consider the day-to-day basis punya operation or team. Okay, so when you too rigid with your decision, perhaps you will create a negative impact towards your own organization objective lah. Okay, so maybe some of your workers or maybe certain department ask more, okay, because they give a lot of strong reason why they ask more budget for their own department, but you are become too rigid, you are reluctant to change. Maybe some of department want to innovate your business model, for example, but you are reluctant to change. Okay, so when you are too rigid, perhaps you will miss a lot of opportunities. All right, again, I mentioned a few times just now, time required. Okay, sometimes the budgeting can be time consuming. Okay, again, it will affect motivation level because it's taking too long to complete. Okay, another challenges is gaming the system. Okay, when we're talking about gaming the system, we can reflect to the idea of budgetary slack. Okay, maybe as an experienced manager, you maybe deliberately looking for adjustment of budget. Okay, so maybe here we are talking about unethical behavior lah. Okay, maybe we are talking about fraud. Okay, irresponsible. Okay, of experienced manager. They know the trick to ask more. Okay, even though it's not necessary. Okay, for that particular department and so on. And blame for outcomes. Okay, maybe if as an organization you have a lot of departments, maybe some department did not achieve their target, they will start blaming others. Okay, maybe I didn't get more because department A get more, so we don't have enough budget okay, to achieve the objective and so on. We'll start blaming others. Okay, spend allocations. Okay, so perhaps perhaps in terms of expense allocation, perhaps sometimes in certain business we have what we call it as a favorite suppliers maybe. Okay, so we can call it as a crony dan sebagainya. Alright, so perhaps you can suggest a better suppliers that can offer you better price, better quality and so on, but because of your experience or senior manager, you don't want to listen because you already have your preferred suppliers and so on. Okay, it can happen when you prepare budget lah. Use it or lose it. Okay, this one you can relate to this second challenges just now, rigid decision making. Okay, in terms of use it or lose it, maybe some top management are very firm with their decision. Okay, you have been given 1 million, you must use it wisely. If you didn't finish that 1 million, next year maybe your budget will be cut. Okay, I give you 1 million last year, but you didn't finish it. You just use 500,000. Okay, for this year we just give you 500,000. Okay, so if that the scenario, so perhaps it will come to the number 4, gaming the system. Okay, so we are trying to find ways. Okay, that's sometimes will create an issue. For example, that we are going to buy something that not unnecessary. Okay, waste. Kita beli something yang tak guna. Okay, sebab for the sake of finishing the budget. If not, our budget will be cut. Okay, so that's also could happen. And the last one is only considers financial outcomes. Okay, again, as I mentioned just now, budget is about quantitative plan of actions. It involves numbers. Okay, sometimes we are too focused on numbers, too focused on amount without considering other aspects. Okay, so when we too focus on financial outcomes, perhaps we miss something that very important to our business or firms lah. Okay, so that's among the difficulties and challenges that we could face when we prepare a budget. Okay, any question? Tengok ada soalan tak? Anyone? Kalau tak nak type, boleh on mic, boleh tanya. I try my best to answer, to respond to your question. Ya, Syahira.
Doktor, macam mana nak tahu untuk performance based budgeting kan? Kan dia cakap based on performance. Performance tu performance apa? Kan project tak start lagi.
That's why one of the characteristic of a good budget is forecasting. Okay, we need to predict. Okay, so that's what come in terms of performance based tadi, in terms of productivity. How, for example, like we are talking about construction projects. Okay, in order to increase productivity, for example, okay, because as I said just now, productivity will reflect to the level of profit. Okay, the more productive, the more profit you get. Okay, maybe previous project we are using conventional method. Okay, so maybe the next project, in order to increase productivity, we can use innovative method, for example, like IDS. Okay, from there maybe we can improve our profit. Okay, so that's one of the way we can use performance based lah.
Okay. Tapi dia tak sama macam incremental budgeting lah.
Tak sama, tak.
Okay. Alright, thank you.
Alright.
Doktor.
Ya. Kelas ni tak ada international lah?
Okay.
Sekejap, saya nak tanya. Tak ada international lah?
Hello.
Hello. Dengar tak?
Rasa tak ada.
Tak ada lah.
Hello, dengar doktor.
Okay. Ya.
Okay, katalah we are having the very same project A dengan project B.
Okay.
Project A sedang berlangsung, project B still design stage.
Okay.
So for budgeting, dia kalau saya nak tanya dia punya orang kata implementation budget from project to project, kita panggil apa, doktor? Maknanya project A, project B, very same project tapi mungkin mindset company untuk cut down. Kita dah buat project A, kita akan buat project B sama tapi kita nak buat cut down.
You can use incremental tadi boleh guna. Sebab
Okay.
kita dah ada benchmark on project A. Kan? Kita dah ada benchmark on project A. So untuk project B, kita gunakan project A punya budget. So from there kita boleh tengok mana yang kita boleh kurangkan. Mana yang kita perlu tambah. If nak tambah lah. Tapi kalau dalam kes awak ni, awak cakap nak kurangkan. So kena carilah area mana yang nak kurangkan. But kena kurangkan tu jangan sampai effect quality of project pula.
Betul-betul.
Tapi itu biasalah.
Saya rasa first kali maybe macam doktor cakap tadi, method of construction lah kan?
Yes.
And then manpower, staff.
Yes, staff.
Certain staff tak perlu kot manager punya level ramai-ramai.
Itu no comment
mungkin
lah.
aku.
Yelah, mungkin aku. Tapi that's why I think normal lah in construction project, especially contractor, seorang dia multi purpose, okay? Dia lah site supervisor, dia lah safety officer, dia lah itu normal lah kan. Sebab kita nak cut cost lah, benda macam tu lah. But in real in regulation sebenarnya tak boleh, tapi Malaysia kan.
Betul. Itu lah. Apa pun boleh.
Yes, Malaysia boleh lah.
Itu contoh pertama between project. Kalau within project tu kita project tu maybe dah jalan for 4 years.
Okay.
But sampai one time tu maybe macam doktor cakap, post COVID-19 punya situation, we have to cut the budget. So certain department tu memang macam what I'm facing, consultant punya fee lah, which is kita tak allow consultant untuk stay after 5 PM. Jadi kita tak nak bayar dia punya overtime lah. And then ada juga consultant you have to count on Saturday. Because consultant yang datang Sabtu, harga dia lain.
Okay, faham.
Ada banyak lah.
So itu boleh masuk dalam assignment nanti, project nanti. Macam mana kan ada salah satu soalan, if you remember dalam project brief tu, salah satu soalan yang saya tanya, macam mana construction firm atau syarikat yang you pilih tu dia respond to the pandemic ni lah, COVID-19 ni. Macam dia cut, buang pekerja ke, retrenchment ke.
Okay. Thank you doktor, itu saja.
Alright, thank you. Farhana, doktor, what are the good ratio percentage to divide between hard cost versus soft cost in project? This question is very subjective lah. Sebenarnya dia depends banyak factors, size project, okay, banyak factor lah. Depends, okay, size project, method apa pakai, kerja berapa ramai you pakai. So benda-benda macam tu you kena consider in looking at the ratio for hard cost versus soft cost ni lah. Okay, so it's very subjective. Baik, ada soalan?
Doktor, Kak saya?
Ya, dengar.
Doktor, kalau ikut daripada your notes, outcome based budgeting, kalau kita ambil contoh yang dalam slide ni talking about commitment nak bagi free nursing kan. Tapi dia punya disadvantage ni adalah lack of data dengan difficult to monitor. Boleh doktor ni explain sikit tak?
Okay.
Pada
alright. Outcome based budgeting ni is very critical. Is good if you use when you have a strong database. Okay. If you identify salah satu kelemahan kita kat Malaysia ni adalah lack of database. Okay, itu has been even in construction industry itself. If you have time, you can have a look on our CITP, Construction Industry Transformation Program. salah satu elemen yang kita lack is database. Okay, so if you don't have a strong database, the outcome based budget yang kita gunakan tak akan capai dia punya maximum level of objective dia, target dia sebenarnya. Okay, so that's why database the important of having a good database is being emphasized on CITP itself lah dalam konteks kita as a construction industry. Okay, so of course salah satu kelemahan kita lah database ni, sebab bila kita tak ada strong database, it's very difficult to monitor. Okay, that's why salah satu target CIDB itself, we want to have a strong database lah for our construction industry. Okay, I'm not sure how the progress lah, sebab kalau you tengok CITP ni 5 years program sampai 2020 ni, hujung tahun ni. Okay, tak sure, adalah few things yang diorang buat. Okay, macam contoh database untuk labor rate dan sebagainya, dia dah buat. Okay, CIDB dah buat satu database yang boleh klik, boleh check labor rate berapa dan sebagainya. Not sure whether this can be overcome, sebab I believe kalau tak boleh dia akan introduce another 5 years program lah untuk improvise lagi, tambah baik lagi. Sebab kalau for information, CITP ni dah dua version lah, daripada 2011 sampai 2011 sampai 2015, and second version 2016 sampai 2020, 5 years program. Okay, kita tengoklah. Right, harap menjawab apa tadi Kak Liza.
Database sama dengan market study juga ke tak sama?
Market study is important, sebab kalau you buat market study, you tak put in somewhere that people can access, tak jadilah database-nya. So maybe you buat market study, you simpan somewhere yang orang tak boleh tengok dan sebagainya, susah lah.
So kiranya macam projek dekat Malaysia ni, diorang tak share the market study among.
Yes, that's one of the things lah. Okay, database, itu antara elemen dia lah. Okay.
Alright.
So basically advantage tadi doktor talking about punca menyebabkan that outcome based tu mungkin tak jadilah because lack of data lah kan.
Yeah.
And how about difficult to monitor tu, maksudnya dia punya output ke ataupun disebabkan
database ada.
Punca. Okay.
Database ada. Lepas tu dia suka nak monitor.
Okay, mana disadvantage sebenarnya bukanlah selepas kita deploy that budgeting punya
Okay.
Dia actually before we can approach, before can implement, benda-benda ni tak ada menyebabkan dia boleh failure lah.
Yes. Okay, ada soalan lagi?
Assalamualaikum doktor.
Salam.
Doktor, macam for example tunjuk zero based budgeting kan. Okay. Macam usually my practice before we initiate any project, we kena dapat some approved budget from the top management lah.
Okay.
So based on that, kita akan guna, I believe kita orang guna zero based budget lah, because we start with the all assumption. Ada consultant design, from that design we assume certain cost lah.
Okay.
Tapi macam mana kalau bila dah approve budget, we start the project, kita start planning, submit drawing to the authority, and then requirement authority tu macam certain case dia akan impact the budget. Okay. Ada tips tak macam kita nak berapa persen contingencies ke?
Right. Technical questions. Okay, sebab again I understand, especially when you deal with authorities. Okay, sometimes especially the decision, the approval can take time. Okay, kita expect nak cepat, tapi sebab decision delay, tak dapat approval, dia boleh impact cost. Okay, in terms of contingencies budget, berapa yang nak allocate tu, that's why I said just now, salah satu kriteria yang kita consider adalah flexibility tu lah. Kita kena, sebab before you make a final decision, benda-benda macam ni you kena consider lah. Okay, macam deal with the authorities just now, like siapa cakap tadi? Afiq, okay, like Afiq said, kita deal dengan local authority ni sometimes it's very difficult, okay, nak dapat approval sometimes ambil masa, so secara tak langsung boleh impact pada cost. So benda macam tu sebelum you decide the amount, you dah kena consider. You kena tahu berapa lama sebenarnya, berapa approval you boleh dapat dan berapa banyak kesannya pada cost project dan sebagainya lah. Okay, itu the best thing yang saya boleh cakap lah. Okay, sebab it's very technical question and sometimes kita pun tak tahu bila kita boleh dapat approval daripada local authorities dan sebagainya. Okay, nak cepat boleh tapi kena spend more lah. Faham sendiri lah.
Betul. Sometimes diorang punya design punya comment pun very, technical comment pun will impact the cost lah, macam itu yang masalah besar kita orang selalu face lah.
Itulah susah cakap benda local authorities kan.
Understand Doktor, understand.
Okay. Alright. Then soalan daripada Adrina, when we do value engineering, is it include in the part of budgeting technique? Ni macam soalan estate management ni. Okay, value engineering, to be honest, saya tak familiar with the term value engineering ni, because it's too far from me lah. Okay, but as long as it involve certain amount of money, of course you can consider. And is it part of the budgeting technique? Okay, value engineering. So far yang common use 4 tadi tu lah, budgeting technique 4 tadi. I'm not sure kalau value engineering ni is one of the new emerging techniques that we can consider when preparing a budget lah. Okay, I need to double check on that. Okay, Adrina. Ada lagi? Kalau tak ada, kita main game jap. Boleh? Sekejap ke?
Boleh Doktor, boleh.
Malam-malam ni ngantuk, kita main game sikit. Okay, you can type kahoot.it as stated in the slide ni, kahoot.it. Nanti ada game code, saya akan bagi sekejap lagi, and you type your nickname lah. Buka tu.
Game pin berapa Doktor?
Sabar.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Tengah loading. Saya punya desktop ni slow sikit. Ya, game pin is loading. Alright, that's the game pin. Masukkan 9694583859. Di bawah 28. Mana lain? Naik, makin kurang pula, 25 dah. Okay, kita main je. Siapa yang ada ni? 29. Okay, ready? Enam orang jawab. Dia jawab salah lah.
Oh, soalan ni kena tengok dekat doktor punya ni Saya tak ada keluar.
Tak keluar?
Apa? Soalan dia tak ada keluar dekat saya punya screen.
Weh, habis keluar jawapan je?
Tak ada, dia keluar merah dengan biru je.
Merah dengan biru je?
Sama.
Okay, tak apa.
Saya dengan Fik sama.
Okay, kalau yang tu tak apa, saya bacakan soalan nanti. Ada 20 saat jawab.
Alright.
Okay. Alright. True or false juga. There are 4 steps that need to be considered when preparing a company's budget. Biru true, merah false.
False.
Ada jawab salah juga. 6 orang. Okay, actually there are 5 steps that we need to consider when preparing a company's budget. The next questions, kita ada 8 semua. Rina masih mendahului. Okay, based on the given answer, choose one of the characteristic of a good budget. So ada 4 jawapan. Merah non-transparent, blue comprehensiveness, orange rigid, green standalone. Ada 3 orang salah. Masih mendahului. Next question. Quiz juga. What is the best term to describe the following image in preparing a good budget? Red flexibility, blue comprehensiveness, orange standards, green participation. Sepuluh orang salah. Masih mendahului. Next question. Soalan yang sama, what is the best term to describe the following image in preparing a good budget? Red transparent, blue feedback, orange motivation, green participation. Ada juga salah, 9 orang. Dah kena potong. Soalan 6. The following is not the budgeting techniques. Red incremental, blue top down, orange zero base, green outcome base. Okay. 9 orang salah. Number 7, second last. Former government under Datuk Seri Najib use this budgeting technique. Red outcome base, blue performance base, orange zero base, green incremental. Push. Okay, outcome base. Last one, true or false, bottom up, each department have to work downwards. True or false, biru true, merah false. Tengok pemenangnya. The winners. Faizul number 3, Afiq Aizam number 2, number 1. G ni siapa? Okay, so that's all for today. If there is no more question, kita end up the class lah. Kalau yang kaitan value engineering ni, saya try to figure out lah later. Okay, kalau ada info apa-apa yang saya dapat pada value engineering, I will share with you next week lah. Okay, so thank you for your time and commitment.
Thank you, Dr.
Right, we'll see you next week. Okay, as usual next week, don't forget your attendance in your future. Next week as usual lah, nota saya akan upload dalam future.
Thank you, Dr.
Okay, salam.
Doktor,